Welcome back to the Quiet Impact Podcast. This is where introverted leaders and entrepreneurs can learn to amplify your presence, profit from your purpose, and lead without compromising your peace. I am your host, Stephanie Oden. And if by chance you're saying, well, maybe I'm not an introvert, I'm more of an ambivert, this is for you too. So today I'm going to be talking about something that most entrepreneurs don't realize that we're starving for until it's almost too late, and that is community. Sometimes this business can feel like a solo climb, and let me tell you, I know from my own experience that climb all too well can be lonely unless you tap into what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So let's jump in, shall we? Welcome to the Quiet Impact Podcast, where we nurture the journey of introverts who desire to achieve greater levels of influence, income, and impact. The go-to podcast for introvert achievers just like you, seeking purpose-driven growth. I am your host, Stephanie Oden. We're not shy, timid, or needing to be fixed. We're an introvert, and that is our superpower. Introverted AFF. Absolutely fabulous and feisty. When I first started my business, I was doing it part-time while I was working in my corporate role. And one of the things that I noticed when I stepped into entrepreneurship was that I carried that same corporate conditioning with me into being a business owner, into being a part-time entrepreneur. If you've been in corporate, you know what I mean. It's that Lone Ranger mindset, because a lot of times you didn't get rewarded as much if you did it as a team as much as you did it as, a Lone Ranger, and, you really stood out. We were always told that. Make sure you stand out. And we got rewarded for more independence. Do it yourself. Prove you can handle it. Deliver the results on your own. And then they'll put you in charge of leading a team. And for a while, I thought, man, this is great. Like, I got this whole do it alone thing by myself. Like, it's innately wired in me. And I thought it was a strength. But honestly, when I took that same approach and I applied it to that of being an entrepreneur, exhausting. So exhausting. And I can remember one of my opportunities was really based on end of the month sales. And, whenever my motivation dipped, I would tell myself, push harder, hustle more, don't ask for help. But the more I tried, not even tried, the more I hustled solo, the heavier the weight felt. Like, have you ever been there? Have you been there where you're working on your dream, but the feeling was like you're carrying it all alone? And then at the same time, you've convinced yourself that I don't want to ask for help because that might make me look weak. And of course, the one we depend on sometimes, being us, ambivert, introvert, I don't really like people that much. We kind of joke about it, but it can become a area that holds us up. And another thing that I thought, and maybe you thought this too, was that somehow, maybe you didn't, okay, maybe it's just my experience, was that collaboration meant that my vision of what I was looking to do was diluted somehow. Let me be real with you. It wasn't confidence I was carrying, it was more of an anxiety. The anxiety around, can I do this? Am I really meant to do this? And if I do with other people, then they possibly will see me not be successful doing it. Here's where the turning point came. When I finally joined my very first business mastermind, it wasn't in person. It was a virtual meeting. About 30 people in this room, and they wanted everyone to have their cameras on if they could. At that time, we had the cameras that sat on top of the computers. They weren't all integrated in. And, That sound like a big deal, but to me it was. I was super nervous, and my social awkwardness was, whoo, buddy, on full display. I kept thinking, what if I'm not accepted? Or what if my idea doesn't have merit with this group of people? Like they're all doing these amazing things. What if I'm exposed as I don't know enough? Like, should I really be here? And I could have easily have hidden in the shadows, right? Forget camera on, take that puppy off, say it's broken, keep my mic muted, just fade into the background, have a nice little moment of serenity. But something inside of me said, stay visible, stay present. So I did. Now I want to drop this pin right here because I hear this so often. And, some people would say, well, Stephanie, you need to do things and get outside of your comfort zone. Get outside of your comfort zone. That was really good of you to get outside of your comfort zone. I don't look at it like get outside of my comfort zone. I know for me, what works is I expand my comfort zone. I look at a time when I've been successful doing something somewhat similar, and then I push myself to do a little bit more, right? Maybe a 1%, maybe a 5%. And that's what was happening in this case. So when I said stay visible, stay present, okay, yeah, I can do that. And what happened really surprised me. So instead of competition, there was this whole collaboration that was happening. Like they didn't understand all the things I did or that I do, but they immediately came in to offer ideas. Instead of this guardedness that I thought would be there, I found huge generosity. And nobody was one upping anybody else, and nobody was holding back their best ideas. I think that's when I really fell in love with that whole concept of mastermind, as Napoleon Hill talked about in Think and Grow Rich. It's that collaboration of other minds and other brains. And I realized for the first time I am not alone. There are other brilliant people out here that are doing amazing things that can become like a think tank. And it was a shift. It was energizing in a way that I knew hustling solo could never be. Like I knew that. Here's what I learned the hard way. Isolation, isolation magnifies anxiety. It drains your energy faster than any broken business strategy ever could. The real energy isn't the lack of motivation. It's the myth that you have to do it alone. Again, remember I said I was carrying that corporate mentality and conditioning when I started. They would tell you that independence is strength. But for introverted achievers like us, independence without support does not lead to success. It leads to burnout. And I'm not talking like the car burning the wheels, tires as it's pulling off. I'm talking you don't want to do this anymore and you don't know why you even started doing this. And that's why I believe so deeply in community, not just in networking, not just in joining groups, but being a part of aligned circles where you're in alignment with the theme of the group and the people that you're partnering with, where there's a mindset around abundance and prosperity and doing the work. It's being part of a circle where your energy is protected and your momentum multiplies. Because here's the truth. If you haven't figured it out yet, isolation drains, community sustains. Let me share 3 ways you can build some momentum through community. Number one, find your people. Don't just settle for any group. Seek circles where honesty and support run deeper than surface networking. The right room doesn't drain you, it actually fuels you. I have two really good examples of that in what I'm doing now. One is the Home Business Academy that I'm a part of, and the second is my own community, the Introvert Achievers Network. Second one, give as much as you get. Now, I mentioned that I was able to get from my experience being a part of that original mastermind, that community that's set up, is I was not only there receiving, you got to be able to receive. That's a whole nother podcast. But it's also not a vending machine where you go in and you take what you need and then you go back in your corner and you're like, I got what I need. I'm good. No, when you show up and really in community, you cannot help it. You invest in others' success. Like your momentum compounds because you have invested in someone else. And that contribution actually creates more connection. And it's a natural flow. I was on a mastermind call with my Traffic and Conversions Academy, and we were going over something related to funnels. Someone had an idea of how to test the strength of your headline. They dropped it in. It was a great share in that moment. And nobody ever said, "Hey, you're not the head. You're not leading this. Why are you even sharing that?" No, everybody was like, thank you so much for sharing that information. And the combined elevation and knowledge level of the whole group went up because one person decided to give. And the third one is stay consistent. When you find a community that really aligns with what you're doing, you're getting input, you're giving input, it's your place, it's your jam, it's your people. It has a rhythm with it. When you keep showing up, even when you don't feel like it sometimes, and sometimes I have my camera off when I'm on some of my masterminds, sometimes I have it on. I'm more and more having it on because you build trust and you build a support system when things are harder. You have that support system, and it's all about staying consistent and showing up. When I say stay consistent with your schedule. Show up when your schedule said you're going to show up. They should know who you are in the community because of your presence and your input and your generosity and your show upness. Okay. That's what I mean about stay consistent. They should know who you are and that you're a valuable part of the community because that's relationship. And think of it like training before the impact. You can't handle the blows of business if you haven't built the strength of community into your foundation. And the best way to build a community into your foundation is what? Be present in the communities that you have chosen, like once you find your people. I've seen I've seen the power of this inside of spaces, like I mentioned with the Home Business Academy, and of course in the Introvert Achievers Network, where you do get support and skills and structure, and you're not facing the climb alone. As a matter of fact, it's a space for women that are professionals and business owners where you can have a podium and a seat at the table at the same time. Whether it's the Introvert Achievers Network or another aligned space, I still have the same message. Don't isolate. Don't buy into the lie that independence equals strength because success may start alone, but it never grows alone. Community is not a strategy. It's a substance. It's something that you need. If you're navigating a tough season or you're carrying a dream and it feels heavy, one of the things that I would encourage you to do is pause, look around, and seek out your people because your vision doesn't just need your effort, it needs your community around you. Remember this: isolation drains, community sustains. Your quiet power is never meant to stand alone. If this message hits home, share with a friend who also might need this reminder. And until next time, find the place where you fit, where you're in alignment. Go sit there. That's it for this episode of the Quiet Impact Podcast. Thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Let me know any insights that you had from this episode. I would love to hear your takeaways. Remember to head to my website, grab a copy of the Success Pillars for Quiet Achievers. It's a resource I created for you. And join us next week. Thank you for watching, listening, and subscribing. See you next time.